Namaskar, everybody. This is Shiva, also known as Mr. Duke Lightning, and the artist formerly known as Fezzy Fazli. And to my friends, Amadeo. I want to talk to you about Whispery Machines, also known as Hypersonic Speakers. Many of you have been reading my book, Wakia, or the accompanying Soul booklet. Many of you have been enjoying my music for many years now. But what many of you are just discovering is that I am a secret agent with Special Services United Nations. Yes. And this is about Whispery Machines. Ever since I was a young child, my very evil demonic father was using these devices on me, hypersonic speakers, because I am third gender. I'm a hermaphrodite and not a Muslim. And my father is an Islamic terrorist. He is the leader of a gang called the Islamic Brotherhood. And, well, let's start with the first clip. This is a clip in which this company selling bananas, fair trade bananas, is openly discussing how they are using hypersonic speakers to speak to people's conscious. Here it is, clip number 1.
Hi. You can hear me, can't you? You're the only one. Look around. No one else can. See?
Now, when you're unaware, if you're not told that this is a technology that's being used on you, horrifically detrimental things can happen. It is no secret amongst the Hijra, which is the third gender, as it's called, group of people in India and Pakistan. This isn't news. And this technology has been used on the poor people, the Dalits and the Hijra in India and Pakistan for many, many years. And I personally have spoken to a former colleague of mine who passed away, who was also a special agent with the United Nations. And he told me that this technology has actually been around in an earlier form since World War II. So what happens when this technology is used under the guise of religion, controlling people with the fear of hell and damnation? Good people, people, simple good people maybe, in the sense that they are very much non-scientifically obsessed with the concept of heaven and hell and all these kinds of things. But when it comes down to it, good people, normal people that don't deserve to be tortured. We're not talking about this technology being used as a way to try and, control criminals or anything like that. No. This is being used on ordinary, everyday people.
It's not your imagination. What's that? Who's there? It's not your imagination. What's that?
But what are they? What are Whispery Machines? What are hypersonic speakers? And how do they work? Let's find out.
Do you hear that? Do you hear music? Where's that coming from? Oh! Hi!
Hey, Paula.
Hey, do that again! Is it turning off? Okay, I hear it over here. Now I don't hear it anymore. Now I hear it. Now I don't hear it anymore. How are you doing that?
Dr. Joe Pompey is an unassuming MIT grad with the powers of a superhero. He can whisper directly into the ears of patrons at the local library from way up in the balcony.
Okay, let's try the guy with the green jacket. Hey. Hey, you. Just be aware that we're keeping an eye on you. So you better cut it out.
Regular loudspeakers can't create directional sound.
A loudspeaker is like the light bulb. The sound that's created really goes everywhere.
The young engineer wanted to direct sound, just like a laser pointer that you confuse cats with. Here's his theory. Air is always moving, even in a still room. These air currents deflect sound waves as they travel. Mathematically, there was a way to accurately predict how these air currents would strike the ultrasound waves and convert them into frequencies we can actually hear. Since the ultrasound waves are highly directional, the resulting aim of the audible sound was perfect. The possibilities of this device were endless.
One of the fun things we used to do was get up on the balcony 5 stories up in our laboratory building and aim the sound down at people walking below. Sometimes we'd beam smashing glass sounds at the caterers walking by with dishes, or we'd whisper in people's ears, and it was all great fun.
So this gentleman apparently thinks that it was all great fun to use this kind of technology on unsuspecting people. And if you're, just playing a prank, that's fine. That's one thing. But this technology has been used by Islamic terrorists and criminal gangs for years now. What they do, for example, is target a third gender person in India and Pakistan, or a Dalit, which is the lowest caste, so very poor people. And these people culturally are kept suppressed. They are not allowed to get proper educations. They aren't allowed to get proper paying jobs. And all of that is because of caste and because of being born a hermaphrodite or being transgender or non-binary or gay or any of these kinds of things. And what they'll do is prey on those people's religious perspectives and convictions and faith, where they'll use this technology to whisper in their ears, these hypersonic speakers, and they'll pretend either to be demons, telling them that they have to do something like kill themselves or submit to being raped and these kinds of things, or they'll justify their actions. For example, in the case with the Islamic Brotherhood, which is a terrorist organization and a gang, a cult-like gang, what they'll do is use this technology to try and force people to be Muslim, because they believe that they're justified in the name of jihad, and that they're doing people a favor because they're trying to save their souls. That's how disturbed these people are, when in fact their only motivation is monetary criminal means. They use this technology all the time. Another tactic they use is that they'll use this technology to try and drive somebody crazy by whispering in their ears all the time. They'll hide the device somewhere, the hypersonic speaker, and they'll whisper in people's ear. And then when that person says, "I'm hearing voices," they'll have them taken to a psychiatrist who works for the gang, who's getting paid money illegally by the gang, and then they brand them as schizophrenic. So their whole reputation is ruined. They're drugged up with really heavy medications, and an entire person's life can be ruined in a split second easily. These devices are like $1,000, $2,000, in some cases maybe even less. And when these devices are used on you, you can hear it. But if you don't know that it's artificial, they can try and succeed in many cases to control your thoughts, because they'll formulate the sentences, not in the sense of like the first clip about the bananas, you can hear me, can't you? No, they'll say, I can hear you. They'll use the formulation of, I want to kill myself, or I'm the one that's responsible for all these problems. So they'll turn people into scapegoats and all these kinds of horrific things. Ladies and gentlemen, we are at war. This is great psychological warfare that has been going on for years and years and years, decades. My source with the United Nations Special Services, the Intelligence Division, who trained me, unfortunately he passed away, his name was Mr. Sampson, he confided in me that this technology has been around since World War II, and they used it on him when he was younger as well. Next, I'm going to put up a slide in which we're going to discuss how to detect whispery machines without technology. United Nations Special Services, classified information. Although the term whispery machines is not a standard technical designation, the underlying technology has existed for quite some time. Ultrasonic directional speakers, often referred to as audio spotlights, parametric speakers, or hypersonic sound devices, can emit a narrow beam of sound that becomes audible only when someone stands directly within its path. These systems operate by projecting ultrasonic frequencies that interact in the air and self-demodulate into audible sound at the listener's location. The result is a highly targeted, location-specific whisper that remains inaudible to others nearby. How to detect whispery machines. With both hands, gently rub the inside of your ears slowly with your fingers and focus on the thoughts you think you're having, in a literal sense. Focus on what words are being spoken in your mind. If you notice that you can hear audio speaking those same words, you are being targeted by sonic technology. If you find yourself being targeted, please report the incident here. Phone number 1212-963-7531. Don't forget to use international codes if calling internationally. And the email address is security-unhq-special services, one word, @un.org. So as is written in that particular slide, rub your ears gently, slowly, the inside of your ears here, in this area. When you do it on both sides, it's easier to hear the whispery machines. Now, omnidirectional whispery machines also exist. So it is entirely possible for them to project audio on one ear and another audio track on another ear, or project something at your stomach and on your ears, like leveled this way, in any of the axes. You understand? The sound can travel and be projected like a laser beam, as they mentioned in the previous clips. And as you rub the insides of your ears, focus on what you are thinking, literally, like literal thoughts, meaning words that are actually occurring in your mind. Like, I am feeling this, or I am feeling that. Whatever the literal thoughts may be. And if you can hear that on the faint rustle that occurs when you touch the insides of your ears, then that means you are being targeted by whispery machines. At this point, these devices are being used everywhere. The situation is way out of control. And my deal with Special Services United Nations is they're my backup. That's what they offered. I was a vigilante when I was younger. because I was fighting against my father and the Islamic Brotherhood and his gang by collecting intelligence information and smuggling it out of the house, all sorts of things. Many, many stories, which you can read about in my book called Wakia, which I'll link in this post with this video. Well, find out for yourself. When you're walking around town, shopping, even in your house in many cases, you might want to check once in a while if you're having thoughts that don't seem like they're healthily your own thoughts. If you're struggling with depression, if you think you might be hearing voices even, you might not even be schizophrenic. That's the thing. They've also used this on the Lakota people, Native Americans, extensively. They know all about these techniques where they get people diagnosed with schizophrenia that aren't schizophrenic, and all these kinds of horrible things. They've killed using these machines. They've made poor, depressed people commit suicide. And we have those things on tape. We have them recorded, trying to commit these crimes. So the game is almost up, ladies and gentlemen. War is over if you want it. And I am Hijra. Get me now? All we are saying is give peace a chance. Om Namah Shivaya Shivoham.